The boring human. Chen Wei was the most boring person on Celestial Station. Everyone agreed. While other species engaged in exciting diplomatic negotiations or thrilling trade deals, Chen sat in his small office on level 7, reviewing financial statements and checking expense reports. He was 42 years old, slightly overweight, with thinning black hair and glasses he wore because he liked how they looked, not because he needed them. His uniform was always perfectly pressed. His desk was obsessively organized. His lunch was the same every day: synthetic chicken sandwich, apple, and green tea. The human accountant, aliens called him, not bothering to learn his name. The one who counts numbers. Chen didn't mind. He liked numbers. Numbers made sense. Numbers told stories that words couldn't hide. Today, Chen was reviewing expense reports from the Valerian Trade Consortium. The Valorians were a proud warrior species, tall, muscular, with silver skin and 4 arms. They controlled shipping routes through half the galaxy and charged fees that made everyone else poor. But something was wrong with their numbers. The pattern. Chen stared at his screen, his fingers drumming on the desk. For 3 months, he'd been noticing strange patterns in the Valerian financial reports. Small discrepancies. Numbers that didn't quite add up. Expenses that seemed slightly too high. Revenue that seemed slightly too low. Most people would have missed it. The differences were tiny, fractions of a percent. But Chen noticed fractions. Fractions were his specialty. He pulled up older reports, going back 2 years. The pattern was there, subtle but consistent. The Valorians were moving money somewhere. Hiding it in legitimate expenses, spreading it across hundreds of accounts so thin that nobody would notice. Nobody except a boring human accountant who liked numbers more than people. Chen, you still here? Marcus Rodriguez, the station's security chief, poked his head through the doorway. It's past 2,200 hours. Don't you have a life? I have numbers, Chen said without looking up. They're very exciting. Marcus laughed. You're weird, man. But okay. Don't work too late. Chen barely heard him leave. He was too focused on the screen, on the pattern emerging from the data. The Valorians weren't just moving money. They were building something. Buying specific materials. Rare metals. Advanced computing systems. Biological compounds. The purchases made no sense for a shipping company. Unless. Chen's fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling up more data. Military contracts. Personnel transfers. Supply shipments to remote sectors where no trade routes existed. His blood ran cold. The Valorians were building a weapon. The meeting. The next morning, Chen requested a meeting with Ambassador Calyx, the Valerian representative on Celestial Station. He was told the ambassador was too busy. Chen insisted. He was told to submit his concerns in writing. Chen said the matter required immediate personal attention. 3 hours later, he sat in Ambassador Calyx's luxurious office, surrounded by displays of Valerian military victories. The ambassador was enormous, nearly 7 feet tall, with all 4 arms crossed in a gesture Chen recognized as dismissive superiority. Mr. Chen, Calyx's voice rumbled like distant thunder. I am told you have concerns about our financial reports. I assure you, everything is in perfect order. There are discrepancies, Chen said calmly, pulling out his tablet. Small ones. But they form a pattern. You're diverting funds, approximately 847 million credits over the past 2 years, into accounts listed as operational expenses but with no corresponding operational activity. Calyx's silver skin darkened slightly, a Valerian sign of irritation. Mr. Chen, our financial affairs are complex. I don't expect a human accountant to understand the nuances of interstellar commerce. I understand numbers, Chen replied. And your numbers say you're buying weapons-grade materials and building something in Sector 77, where there are no registered Valerian facilities. The room went very quiet. Those are classified security matters, Calyx said slowly. Not appropriate for civilian review. Station regulations require all commercial entities to disclose major capital expenditures. Weapons manufacturing qualifies. Chen kept his voice level, professional. I need to report this to the station council. Calyx stood, all four arms now spread in a gesture of intimidation. Mr. Chen, you seem like a reasonable man. Smart. Cautious. Surely you understand that sometimes, discretion is valuable. Are you offering me a bribe? I'm offering you an opportunity to avoid unnecessary complications. Chen stood as well. At 5'7", he barely reached Calyx's chest, but his voice was steady. Ambassador, my job is to review financial statements and ensure compliance with station regulations. I'm going to do my job. Your job, Calyx said softly, is whatever I decide it is. Do you know how much trade flows through Valerian routes? How many species depend on our shipping networks? One word from me, and this station loses access to half the galaxy's commerce. That sounds like a threat. It's a fact. Calyx moved closer, looming over Chen. And here's another fact, humans are fragile. This station is dangerous. Accidents happen. Chen looked up at the ambassador, his heart pounding but his expression calm. I'll take that under advisement. Thank you for your time. He walked out before Calyx could respond. The investigation. Chen went straight to station security. Marcus listened to his story, reviewed the financial data, and his expression grew darker with each screen. This is serious, Marcus said. If the Valorians are building unauthorized weapons platforms, we need to investigate. But Chen, these people have power. Real power. You sure you want to push this? The numbers don't lie, Chen said simply. And I'm an accountant. I follow numbers. Marcus shook his head but smiled. You're either really brave or really stupid. Okay, I'll take this to the council. But stay low for a few days. Don't go anywhere alone. Chen nodded and returned to his office. He had more work to do. The financial trail was clear, but he needed to understand what the Valorians were actually building. He accessed shipping manifests, cross-referenced material properties, calculated quantities. The weapon wasn't just big. It was massive. Big enough to threaten multiple star systems simultaneously. And according to his calculations, it would be operational within 3 months. His screen suddenly went black. Mr. Chen. A new voice spoke from his office speakers, not Calyx, but someone else. Female. Cold. You've been accessing restricted data. This is your only warning. Stop investigating Valerian operations, or there will be consequences. Who is this? Someone who understands what's at stake. The galaxy's economy depends on Valerian shipping. Millions of beings depend on the stability we provide. Your curiosity threatens that stability. My curiosity, Chen said slowly, is about illegal weapons development. What you call illegal, we call necessary. The galaxy is dangerous, Mr. Chen. We're protecting everyone, including humans. But we can't do that if people like you interfere. By building weapons that could destroy entire worlds? By building deterrents that prevent wars. There's a difference. Chen's hands clenched. I'm an accountant. I deal with facts. And the facts say you're lying. The voice was silent for a moment. Then, we tried to reason with you. Remember that. The connection cut. Chen sat in darkness, his heart racing. He'd spent his entire career avoiding confrontation, staying safe in his world of numbers and spreadsheets. Now he'd just made enemies of one of the galaxy's most powerful species. His door opened. Marcus stood there with 2 security officers. Chen, we need to move you. Now. There's been a credible threat against your life. The discovery. They moved Chen to a secure facility on level 3. For 2 days, he remained in protective custody while the station council investigated his claims. He spent the time reviewing more data, building a more complete picture of what the Valorians were doing. It was worse than he'd thought. The weapon wasn't just for deterrence. Chen found communication logs, encrypted but not encrypted enough, discussing targets. Specific worlds. Specific populations. Species that competed with Valorian trade interests. The Valorians were planning genocide disguised as security. On the third day, Ambassador Calyx appeared before the station council. Chen watched via a secure video link as the ambassador presented his defense. The human accountant misunderstands, Calyx said smoothly. Yes, we have defense projects. Yes, we invest in security infrastructure. But we threaten no one. Mr. Chen's accusations are based on incomplete data and human paranoia. I have the complete data, Chen's voice came through the speakers. Would you like me to present it? The council chamber fell silent. For the next hour, Chen walked them through everything. The diverted funds. The hidden purchases. The construction timeline. The communication logs discussing population management and competitive elimination. He showed them shipping manifests for biological compounds used only in atmosphere-targeted weapons. Purchase orders for materials that could only be used in planet-destroying devices. Messages discussing which worlds to target first. The numbers told the whole story. And numbers didn't lie. Ambassador Calyx's silver skin had turned almost black by the time Chen finished. These are fabrications. Manipulated data. The human has falsified everything to damage Valorian reputation. The blockchain confirmations are authentic, Chen said quietly. Every transaction is verified by independent systems. You can't fake blockchain data. The numbers are real. The council voted unanimously to freeze all Valorian assets and launch a full investigation. Chen returned to his quarters that night exhausted but relieved. He'd done his job. He'd followed the numbers. Everything would be okay now. He was wrong. The attack. The explosion happened at 0347 hours. Chen was asleep when his room shook violently, alarms screaming through the station. He stumbled out of bed, confused, as Marcus burst through the door. Move. Now. Marcus grabbed Chen's arm, pulling him into the corridor. Around them, other residents fled in panic. The Valorians are attacking the station. What? They can't. They're claiming self-defense against false accusations. Their warships just disabled our shields and they're boarding. Chen's mind raced. A trade consortium attacking a neutral station? It was insane. Unless they were desperate. Unless they knew he'd exposed something they couldn't afford to have exposed. This was his fault. He'd pushed too hard. Asked too many questions. And now people would die. I need to fix this, Chen said, stopping. You need to survive. Marcus yanked him forward. Come on. But Chen pulled away. No. This is happening because of what I found. There has to be a way to stop it. You're an accountant, not a soldier. Exactly. Chen's mind was already working, calculating possibilities. They're not attacking because they want to. They're attacking because they're desperate. Because exposure threatens their entire operation. So desperate people make mistakes. And I'm good at finding mistakes. The gambit. Chen ran to his office, his actual office, not the secure facility. Marcus and 2 security officers followed, weapons drawn, ready for Valorian boarding parties. Chen's office was untouched. The Valorians were focused on the council chambers, trying to seize evidence. Good. That meant he had time. He logged into the station's financial systems and started pulling up Valorian accounts. Not just the hidden ones he'd already found, but everything. Every credit, every transaction, every connection. What are you doing? Marcus demanded. Finding leverage, Chen said, his fingers flying across the keyboard. The Valorians built their power on controlling trade routes. That control depends on trust. Other species trust them with cargo, with payments, with routing sensitive materials. And I'm about to break that trust. Chen pulled up communication logs, financial transfers, shipping manifests. The Valorians haven't just been building weapons. They've been embezzling from their clients. Diverting cargo. Manipulating prices. Bribing officials across 50 different worlds. He started compiling everything into a single massive file. Every crime, every violation, every dirty secret hidden in their numbers. If I release this, every species in the galaxy will know the Valorians can't be trusted. Their shipping empire collapses. Their power disappears. Marcus stared at him. That's economic warfare. It's accounting. Chen attached the file to an emergency broadcast protocol. And I'm about to send it to every news network, every government, every trading post in the galaxy. His finger hovered over the transmit button. If I do this, I end them. The Valorian Trade Consortium will be destroyed. Millions of Valorians will lose their livelihoods. Their entire civilization could collapse. They're trying to kill us, Marcus said. They build planet-destroying weapons. I know. Chen's hand trembled. But I'm an accountant. I don't destroy civilizations. I just count numbers. Outside, the sounds of combat grew closer. Weapon fire. Shouting. The Valorians were getting near. Chen looked at the screen. At the evidence of crimes spanning decades. At the power to destroy an entire species' economy with a single button press. He thought about what his grandmother used to say, numbers tell truth. But mercy gives truth meaning. He pressed a different button. The negotiation. Instead of broadcasting everything, Chen sent a secure message to Ambassador Calyx. A private communication. Just the two of them. The ambassador's face appeared on screen, furious. You dare. I have everything, Chen interrupted. Every crime your people have committed. Every bribe, every theft, every manipulation. I can broadcast it to the galaxy right now. One button press. Calyx's silver skin paled. You wouldn't. I would. But I don't want to. Chen leaned forward. Ambassador, I'm not a hero. I'm not a warrior. I'm an accountant who found something wrong and reported it. That's all I ever wanted to do. Then what do you want now? I want you to stop attacking this station. I want you to dismantle the weapons you're building. And I want you to accept real oversight of your financial operations going forward. In exchange for? I keep this evidence private. Your civilization doesn't collapse. Your people keep their livelihoods. But you operate honestly from now on. No more hidden weapons. No more embezzlement. No more threats. Calyx was silent for a long moment. You're offering mercy to people who tried to kill you. I'm offering reason to people who made mistakes. Chen's voice was steady. You built those weapons because you were afraid. Afraid of losing power. Afraid of being vulnerable. But the weapons made you more afraid, not less. Made you desperate enough to attack a neutral station. You don't understand the pressures we face. I understand numbers. And the numbers say your current path leads to destruction. Either by your weapons or by economic collapse when your crimes are exposed. This way, you survive. Diminished, yes. Humbled, certainly. But alive. Another long silence. How do I know you'll keep your word? Calyx asked finally. I'm an accountant, Chen said simply. Keeping accurate records is literally my job. If you honor our agreement, the records stay private. If you break it, they become public. Simple mathematics. The aftermath. The Valorian warships withdrew 20 minutes later. The weapons platform in Sector 77 was dismantled under Galactic Council supervision. Ambassador Calyx resigned in disgrace, replaced by a reformist who promised transparency. Chen went back to his office on level 7. Same desk. Same organized files. Same synthetic chicken sandwiches. But now, when aliens passed his door, they nodded respectfully. Mr. Chen, they'd say. Not the boring human. Not the accountant who counts numbers. Just his name. Marcus visited him a week later. The council wants to give you a medal. Hero of the station. Saved thousands of lives. I'd rather they didn't, Chen said, not looking up from his spreadsheet. Why not? You deserve recognition. I deserve to do my job. Medals attract attention. I prefer being boring. Marcus laughed. Chen, you faced down a species that wanted to kill you. You stopped a war with a spreadsheet. You're the least boring person on this station. The numbers stopped the war, Chen corrected. I just showed people what they said. But he smiled slightly. That night, Chen received a message from an anonymous source. It contained financial data from 3 other major trade consortiums. All showing similar patterns. Hidden expenses. Diverted funds. Suspicious purchases. They're doing it too, the message said. Someone needs to look. Someone who won't be intimidated. Someone who follows numbers. Chen stared at the data for a long time. He thought about staying safe. Staying boring. Just doing his job and nothing more. Then he opened the files and started analyzing. Because someone had to. Because numbers told truth. Because mercy gave truth meaning. And because sometimes, the most boring person in the room was exactly who the galaxy needed.